An AIDS awareness meeting demonstrating the means to avoid the virus. In this poor area of Machakos in southeastern Kenya, there is no mention of Pope Benedict XVI's claims that condoms only aggravate the problems inflicted by the condition. Many studies show infection rates decrease where the use of condoms is practiced. The facts are convincing.
As you know that information is power, and lack of knowledge causes the society to perish. Since you know that poverty is a brother to disability, it's just about 1% of the population of the visually impaired who are educated. So you find that the other percentage are just within the society. They are either hidden or they are either staying in the slum areas. They were not taught sex education, neither were they taught about HIV information. So that one causes a lot of vulnerability, and then causes higher risk of them getting HIV, and also people taking advantage of them.
Paul Mugambi is one of the trainers of the organisation Blink, one of the associations of disabled people mobilising in the fight against AIDS in Kenya, associations whose work is supported by the organisation Handicap International. According to a recent study by the French non-governmental organisation, the target population is particularly at risk of HIV in Kenya. Access for disabled people to AIDS screening is below average, and means of prevention like condom use remains a mystery to the vast majority. Catherine Wanjikur Moyonga, a teacher, is an AIDS sufferer.
I'm a human being, first and foremost. I was a woman. I had right to love and to be loved, marry and get children. And during those processes is where I acquired my HIV. Apart from sight, everything of mine else is working as anybody's. Being visually impaired put me off from many other pleasures, and therefore I'll be engaged in sex. Yeah. So I will get the HIV. Being disabled, people should not think we are not supposed to get HIV. HIV has no sympathy.
Of the 33 million AIDS sufferers worldwide, 70% come from Africa. The countries of sub-Saharan Africa are most affected. Although it's not the worst hit, Kenya remains in the top 10 most blighted nations. Over 7% of the Kenyan population lives with HIV, which kills an average of 400 people every day. Here, as elsewhere, experts say condom use is a rarity. According to a national study, less than 20% of adults claim to use a condom with a partner whose HIV status they do not know. Direction Kibera, a slum in Nairobi, Kenya's capital. The Kadan Association is struggling to promote the integration of disabled young people in Kenya. The pressure group is seeking to increase AIDS awareness and the behavioural risks involved. A study conducted by Handicap International shows a high incidence of sexual violence against people with disabilities.
I want to take this opportunity. I think we are all aware, but to contribute.
George Kasera directs the Kadan Awareness Programme.
Very long introduction.
Before we came up with the idea of Kadan, we realized that most of us were being raped, disabled people, because again the community believes that if somebody has HIV and AIDS, then he or she has sex with a disabled person, they get cured. On the other hand, disabled people, particularly young disabled people, had this notion that I have to prove to my peers that really I'm good in sex. You see?
The various associations work to ensure that people with disabilities are taken into account in national prevention programmes. Women are the group most affected by the virus. For all of sub-Saharan Africa, they represent 61% of those affected. According to a national survey, 3 out of 5 Kenyan women are affected in some way by AIDS. The support service to families in Nairobi provides advice to parents of disabled children.
Most of the families here are single parents, simply because once they give birth to a disabled child, the fathers kind of run away from them. They have said, one of the parents said that They don't even trust even their relatives to leave them with their disabled children because of they fear things like the rapes. And it happens that if their children are raped, they can get the virus, which will add already to the problem which is already there, the disability itself.
Mary Wamaira has a gnawing fear that her daughter Helen suffers from a mental disability.
But we don't even think about it. Kibaki does not have to, let's say Kibaki. Because she's... Actually, right now I'm not working because I don't know, I can't afford to leave her alone. With my 7 months old boy. With a house girl. There's this one house girl who, okay, I trusted her. But one day, it was terrible. I found her beating her, you see. So when I am not there, I don't know what is happening to her. It's what goes around their head is terrible, you know. She cannot be able to tell the mother. It's terrible, because it's not safe for her. Right now, she's almost 9. She's developing some features, you see. Then you leave her with boys and girls out there in the house. It's not safe. She's a girl.
The performing arts as a means of information. The National Association of the Deaf in Kenya is a peer support group for people with hearing difficulties. Its dedicated members are spreading the AIDS menace message across the country. In the real sense, in the deaf world, the disability world, we are always the last to get information. We want even people in villages to get information about AIDS because now it's so hard. And with puppets and our ideas, we can at least travel to the deep regions and speak about it. Prevention efforts are beginning to have some effect. But for every 2 people who manage to get access to AIDS treatment in Kenya, another 5 are newly affected by the virus. AIDS awareness information is that much more vital for people in marginalised communities.
Doing his work.